Maybe it's a junk drawer in the kitchen, filled with old batteries, rubber bands, and takeout menus. Maybe it's a box in the attic, overflowing with dusty photo albums and letters you promise you'll read again someday. Or maybe, just maybe, it's the back of a sock drawer, a place where forgotten things go to sleep for decades. For one woman on a recent episode of Antiques Roadshow, that unassuming sock drawer turned out to be a time capsule. It held a secret from her teenage years. A story involving a bad boy boyfriend, a trip to jail, and a single forgotten object that 50 years later would leave her absolutely speechless. This is the kind of story we all dream of. It's the what if that keeps us tuning into Antiques Roadshow every week. We watch people bring in their grandmother's dusty paintings or their great uncle's weird-looking vase, all holding their breath for that one magical moment. This guest got that moment, and it started with one of the best backstories the show has ever heard. The story that made the appraiser say, "Uh-oh." When the guest placed a simple, rather faded-looking silver Rolex on the appraiser's table, he asked the classic question, "So what can you tell me about it?" The guest took a breath, and you could tell this was going to be good. "It was my boyfriend's when I was in high school," she began. "He got arrested and had to go to jail." The appraiser's reaction was immediate and perfect. With a knowing, slightly worried smile, he just said, "Uh-oh." Oh, but the story was just getting started. This wasn't just a watch. It was part of a going-away package. "So he brought a couple things to my house for me to keep for him," she continued. "The watch, a hunting rifle, and a jacket." Let's just pause and appreciate that trio of items. A watch, a rifle, and a jacket. It paints a very clear picture of this high school boyfriend, doesn't it? The guest explained what happened next. "So after he got out of jail, he came back to my house. Well, my parents' house, to get his stuff, and I wasn't home. So my mom let him into my bedroom to get his stuff." This is the sliding doors moment, the crucial pivot point where the entire story turns. But he forgot about the watch. He grabbed the rifle. He grabbed the jacket. But the Rolex, he just left it. And there it sat. The guest tucked it away, and life moved on. High school ended, new boyfriends came and went, and the watch just waited. "So this last winter, when I was cleaning out some stuff, I found it in the back of my actual sock drawer," she said, almost laughing at the absurdity of it. "It's been there at least 50 years. Over 50 years. A flaw that became a treasure." The appraiser, now fully invested in this cinematic tale, turned his attention to the watch itself. He identified it as a Rolex Explorer, reference 1016. These were sports watches, designed for adventurers. He noted that the metal bracelet wasn't the original, but that many of these were actually sold on simple leather straps back in the day. But then he focused on the one thing anyone would notice, the dial. It was, well, weird. Originally, the dial wasn't this color, the expert explained, pointing to the face. "This is a very, very strange-looking color. Light brown, a chocolate brown, to a dark brown, going to the original black over here on the end. It looked damaged, faded, burnt. And that's exactly what it was." The appraiser explained that the glow-in-the-dark effect on the hands and numbers came from radium. Sometimes the radiation from that radium burns the dial over time. Other times, it's just massive, prolonged exposure to the sun. This bizarre, faded effect has a name in the watch collecting world. It's called a tropical dial. Here is the part that will make you want to go check every old watch in your house. 20 years ago, in watch collecting, the appraiser said, a dial like that was considered, "That's no good." So if this went into service to your watchmaker, they might take that dial off and toss it out, and get you a replacement dial from the factory. Think about that. If she had found this watch in the 1990s, it would have been considered junk. A defect, a fatal flaw. A watchmaker would have literally thrown that burnt dial in the garbage. But times change, tastes change, and in the world of high-end vintage watches, uniqueness is king. What was once a flaw is now coveted. Now that's coveted, the appraiser stressed. That's a prize that's desired by collectors who want that look. He leaned in, his voice filled with genuine excitement. "This is the most extreme of tropical dials I think I've ever seen." The guest just let out a quiet, whoa. The $10,000 punchline. The appraiser confirmed the watch was in good working condition. And then he delivered the line everyone was waiting for. "This watch right now, retail, it'll bring $10,000. The guest's reaction was everything.